okay, but the weather's too bad. Should have jumped 10 minutes ago now. Now I've just been to drop zone K where 8th Power Battalion jumped in. Probably about just over half a mile away from here. I'm driving down the lane, I just found a memorial to them. 8th Battalion Group. I don't know what it says really, it's all in French, I'm not a French speaker, but I suppose I'll have to do a translator when I get back. But yeah, the drop zone's that direction. I think it's heading towards Breville Ridge, I'm not sure, but there we go.
The battalion recce party of 20 men under the command of Major George Payne jumped at 22 hours, H 6 hours 55 minutes, from 2 Albemarle aircraft based at Harwell Airfield, one from 295 Squadron and the other from 570 Squadron RAF. At the same time, 10 Pathfinders of 22nd in Para Company parachuted with them from another Albemarle, and they all landed on or near DK at Touffreville, 4 miles east of Caen and 8 miles from the coast. Another 10 Pathfinders were dropped by mistake on D. ZN at Ranville instead of DZK, with serious consequences for the main drop of 8th Para Battalion Group. These 40 parachutists were among the very first of all Allied troops to land in Normandy. The tasks of these Pathfinders and recce party were to set up the Eureka radio homing transmitter beacons for the DZK and to prepare the flare path in the shape of the letter T for the 6 Horsa Guilders of the battalion group on flight, F Squadron, No. 2 wing of the Glider Pilots Regiment, and were commanded by Lieutenant Aubrey Pickwoad, DFCLZ. K was a strip of land 1,400 yards long and 350 yards wide, running south-southeast from Le Pré-Baron to Touffreville. These gliders arrived 25 minutes after the Pathfinders, but only 2 of them landed on LZK. The rest of the battalion group jumped 5 minutes after the gliders had landed, from 37 Dakota aircraft of 233, 271 and 575 squadrons RAF based at Blake Hill Farm Airfield. Unfortunately, only about 130 jumpers landed on or near DZK because of flak causing evasive action, Eurekas in the wrong place, poor visibility, or planes not slowing down when dropping parachutist. In the recce party were 2 members of the signal platoon, 53844 in Private Arthur Platt, aged 24, and 63540 Private Thomas Wilson Billington, aged 21. They were helping the Pathfinders to set up the flare path on LZ. K, when they were captured by the Germans, probably a detachment of 6 Company, 125th Panzer Grenadiers, which was billet in Touffreville, and whose regimental commander was Colonel Hans von Luck. They were murdered, probably shortly after capture, on a farm track near to the edge of LZ. K just outside Touffreville, each with a bullet in the back of his head. This because Hitler had ordered that all parachutists would be regarded as spies or saboteurs and must be killed if taken prisoner. Their bodies were left face downwards in the hedgerow at the side of the track and were discovered next morning by a French woman from Touffreville, Madame Yveline Langevin. The 8th Midlands Parachute Battalion's main objective for D-Day, part of the 3rd Parachute Brigade's Operation Tonga, was to destroy 3 bridges over the Dives River near Bures and Troarn. They were tasked with hindering German counterattacks by preventing them from utilizing these bridges. Detailed objectives: destruction of bridges. The battalion's primary mission was to destroy 2 bridges near Bures and a 3rd bridge at Troarn, all crossing the Dives River. Interruption of German reinforcements. By destroying the bridges, they aimed to prevent German troops from using them to move quickly and effectively in response to the Allied landings on Sword Beach. Securing the left flank. This mission played a vital role in protecting the vulnerable left flank of the Allied invasion. Key actions. Bures bridges. The battalion successfully destroyed the 2 bridges near Bures. Troarn Bridge. While the battalion reached the Troarn Bridge, they found it partially damaged. They augmented the damage, expanding the gap to about 70 feet, 21 meters. Ambush. During their mission to Troarn, a group of 8th Parachute Battalion members ambushed a German convoy of 6 armoured vehicles, belonging to the 21st Panzer Division.
Okay then folks, I'm just south of Troerne. I'm just coming up to a memorial now by the river that on June the 6th, 8 para and also members of the Royal Engineers, Parachute Engineers, had to knock out this bridge, and this would help cut off the Germans trying to reinforce Ranville and all those areas. So where we go, here's the bridge, now been replaced. You can see the river there, so you knock this out, that's going to stop anybody coming across. Troerne is just over there, probably just under a mile away. And that's a memorial. Major JCA Rosevear.
Unknown to the 8th Battalion, Major Rosevear, the commander of the 3rd Parachute Squadron, was already on his way to Troerne in a jeep with some of his men. They drove straight through the village, and in so doing attracted a great deal of fire from the German garrison, who by now had become aware that something was happening. The men in the jeep returned fire with their machine guns and raced through the village unscathed, the only casualty being Sergeant Peachy, the Bren gunner sitting in the trailer, who was taken prisoner after being thrown from the jeep as they turned a corner at speed. Rosevear and his party arrived at the bridge beyond the village and set up their explosives, which were detonated at 05 and drop, creating a 20-foot gap in the centre of the bridge. The 8th Battalion knew nothing of this and were still preparing to make their own way to Troerne. As time wore on, significant numbers of reinforcements began to drift in, including half of A Company and most of the mortar and medium machine gun platoons. When 2. Troop returned from Bures, Pearson ordered them and his No. 9 platoon on to Troerne, leaving the main force of the 8th Battalion to establish a defensive position in the woods, which formed the southern sector of the ridge that the 3rd Parachute Brigade had been ordered to hold. As these men moved forward, they were twice fired on by German outposts, both of which were summarily dealt with, and a number of prisoners were taken. When the group reached the bridge, they found that Rosevear, who had since departed, had beaten them to it, but nevertheless they laid their charges and succeeded in doubling the damage.
So what actually happened, part of the task of the 8th Para Battalion, they had the aim drop zone, dropped the furthest to the south of the divisional area. Their job was to come and blow this bridge up and another bridge further up the river. Also there was parachute engineer unit that came through during the night in Land Rovers, came racing through the town, all guns blazing, shooting up the Germans as they came, got down here in the Land Rovers, put charges on the bridge and blew it up. They got the job done and got the way out of here. Later on, 8 Para managed to get down to the bridge and they put extra charges on the bridge just to make sure that nobody else was coming through. So the objective, the mission was complete, and this is the bridge just south of Troerne, and it's the Dives River. So there's a little weir there, but it is a fast flowing river. And a bit further up is the bridge. Oh no, I haven't. It's a lovely church. It's a bit bouncy. Yeah.
Well, look at the shape of that house.
Imagine racing down here in Land Rovers.
Just to the roundabout after 800 metres.
Now if you can see it's this building on the right hand side as you go up. Like the roof sticks out. There's a famous picture or painting of the parachute squadron racing down, guns blazing, The Germans are shooting out the windows. You'll see it when you get around this bit of bend, I think. Yeah, that one with the strange roof, you see it?
Yeah.
Famous picture. What, I'm going.
Oh.
Give way to the right.
This one.
There's the square. We've been in that square before.
That one.
Yeah. This is true. Right, I'm on Breville Ridge now. So just down that village there, that's Ranville. See the church in the distance. That's where the cemetery is. You've got the bridge to the right of it. And then this was a scene of a big battle. There's a chateau on top down that road. Changed hands quite a few times, but let's just go over, look at the memorials. Yeah, go down here. So, Midlands Parachute Battalion, they was involved in this one. What was left of the battalion. Also the 52nd Oxen Bucks Light Infantry were part of the same group that was at Pegasus Bridge, air landing. And then you've got a memorial this side, a French one. I say the chateau's up there. So the fighting went on for quite some time. Different British regiments were fighting for this area because the ridge overlooked the drop zones and Bonneville, Ranville areas. So there's the other regiment that was fighting hard around here. On the 10th of June 44, the Airborne Division made its first attack on this position in the Bois de Mon towards Breville. In this and the action at Chateau Saint-Com, 110 men were killed in 2 days, vastly outnumbered, and against ferocious counter-attacks the islanders helped and secure the Orme bridgehead, only by steadfast dedication, courage and sacrifice. And a veteran we came up with a few years ago with the Bedworth branch of the PRA. His name was Seth. And he was part of the Oxen Bucks. Came in by glider and he was fighting here. There's like a greenhouse thing down here. It's got a jeep in it. I think, not sure if that's the one that got blown up. But yeah, they do say that the woods around here, lumberjacks don't like cutting the trees down because So many bullets and shrapnel left in the trees. It buggers up the chainsaws. Okay. Bert Marsh. Now I knew Bert. He was from the Chesterfield branch, born in Sheffield, and he took part in the battle here at Crossroads. 6th Airborne Division in memory of inhabitants of Breville, who died in 1944. Also the men of the 12th Yorkshire Parachute Battalion, 12th Battalion of the Devonshire Regiment, and other detachments who on the evening of the 12th of June 1944 assaulted Breville with the 1st Commando Brigade positions from the direction of Ampheville and drove out the German force. 162 men of the division died. They lie in the Ranville Military Cemetery. Bert survived the battle and he went on to have a great life. He died in his late 90s. That was a really good friend. I'm glad to see his photos there.